I'd known about Pendine Sands in Wales for some time. It was famous in the 1930s for speed trials of various cars, horses, and any sort of vehicle. It also allowed us the space that we needed, because we needed quite a big area to execute the maneuvers. Well, the interest for me in the script was the challenge of creating the mural of the runner in the sand. Well, the one question that came up when we were looking at the script was how to create this image. I was adamant that we had to create it for real. We obviously had to have a vantage point of the camera to be able to allow us to plot out where Wolfie had to drive. The choice was either a helicopter or a crane. The helicopter was ruled out because of the location that we were in. We needed to have a static camera, so we came up with the idea of a strada crane. We were also facing very strong wind, above 15 miles an hour. The crane has to come down because it's not steady enough. We waited all morning, and eventually the wind dropped to the point where we could take the camera up into the sky. We were virtually 100 feet up in the air. Donnie showed me the script. I said, well, I know exactly the person who could execute this for us. It was a question of getting hold of Wolfgang Weber, who's a good friend and an extraordinary race driver and precision driver.
I got a job 15 years ago, and because of my rally career, he said I would be the right man because I have the car control.
I promised him a job for many years where he could come along and basically just have fun driving. I think that shows in the film. I think you could see that the person driving this car is enjoying themselves.
Driving on the sand is something special because when you accelerate you always have some slip and the car is always moving. That's good fun.
He was adamant that we would have a car which was as manual as possible. He was then able to practice a little bit on the sand, and once he got the feel of the way that the M5 handled on both the dry sand and the wet sand, he then worked with us to work out the best shape that was possible. We then plotted out a basic shape that we liked, and then Wolfie traced this shape, he drove the shape and worked out whether it was actually possible to achieve what we wanted at the speeds that we needed for him to be able to spin the tyres and actually create a track in the sand that was visible.
It was a real unique shoot because I never had a location like this beach. It was very hard sand, so a lot of fun to drift the car around, and in some places it was better than asphalt.
He loved it. It's very well balanced. You know, you point it anywhere you want and it'll go. Very controllable. He's loving it.
The SG gearbox in this car made it possible to shift in between the drift, so you never saw the drift stopping. The limited slip which reacts on your steering sensor was the perfect thing what you can have.
We use Aeroflex Alexa on the crane for the wide shots. For the cameras that we rigged specifically on the M5, we had a couple of Canon cameras that we used rigged to the camera, and then inside we used some smaller GoPros. And so we were trying to find angles on the car that showed aspects of the bodywork, but also allowed us to tell the story. So we were choosing reflections, using shots of the wheels, and parts of the car that visually looked good, but ultimately helped tell the story.
Because you've got so much power, and it's a twin turbo V8, it's inevitable that you put your foot down. That power there.
When we were actually filming, we were filming with an intermittent rainstorm, so we had to stop every so often, let the rain clear, and then go back onto the sand.
Yeah, the British weather, we had everything. We had in between 10 minutes, 10 times the sun and 10 times rain with rainbows. Everything was here. So I experienced my first time in my life the wild weather. You know, it's really funny.
The spot as a whole was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself immensely, and I think Wolfgang did as well. He was extremely complimentary about the new M5, and from my point of view I just had a lot of fun. I had all my friends, with the crew with me, and it was a great time. I'd love to do something like it again.